all three puzzles gave me the same experience. Hey guys! Well, we got a lot of work ahead of us in this one because I want to work on 3 puzzles from a new to me brand. And the brand that I am talking about is Sunsout Puzzles. And as I said, we have 3 of them here today. So the first one that I have in my little stash here is a 300 count puzzle. And this one is called Windber Farms. The artist is Joseph Burgess. Again, it's 300 pieces and it's 18 by 24 inches when it's completed. Now, the boxes themselves don't really say much about the brand, aside from the fact that they are manufactured in the USA. They're eco-friendly and have soy-based inks, and it's on recycled board. And this image is totally my thing. I absolutely love farms. I could see myself in the carriage in the background getting ready to pick up some apples and strawberries. I just love it. It's a fantastic image. And at 300 pieces, this is going to be some really good, quick fun. And then the next puzzle count that I have here is a 500 count. And it's called Spring Creek Cottage. The artwork is by Sung Kim. Again, 500 pieces, and it's 18 by 24 inches when it's completed. Again, another beautiful image. I mean, my house has never looked better. I must still be sleeping because the lights are turned off. But I need to find out who left my gate open. That's not a good thing. But anyways, the colors are amazing. I seriously cannot wait to piece this one together. Like, I could just see myself jumping in there as soon as I'm done with it. And then finally, the last puzzle count that I have here from Sunsout is a 1,000 count puzzle. And this one is called Soda Fountain. The artist is Susan Brabo. I think I said that right. And it's 19 by 30 inches when it's completed. And once again, another fantastic image. I seriously want to be in this soda shop right now. Like, dude, please hit me up with an ice cream sundae. Throw a brownie in there too. And once I sit down, I'm going to keep my ears open and find out what these 2 people are arguing about. We might have a scuffle in our hands, but we'll see. And as I said, Sunsout Puzzle is a new to me brand. I know many of you have recommended it to me, and I'm glad to finally have like 3 different puzzles and 3 different counts, because I like kind of reviewing the different experiences within each count, because sometimes a smaller count or a larger count can pretty much vary in terms of quality and overall puzzling experience. So I'm curious to see which one I'm gonna like more of the 3. But in terms of the images, like I'm in love. I can't wait to piece them together. I can't wait to see what this overall quality is like in general, what the hold is like, and if so, this may be a brand that I start, building in my collection. We'll see. I don't know. But anyways, guys, since we got a lot of work ahead of us here, I need to get started. So you know what? I'm gonna move on to my table and let's get these opened up. All right, so let's get these 3 opened up. Now let's start with the 300 count puzzle. We'll go in order of least to greatest. So they're all in a plastic wrap. So let's carefully get this off. All right, so as you can see, we got ourselves quite a bit of puzzle dust and shavings, and more like shavings than anything. Ooh, that's no joke. But anyways, let's put that to the side. Hopefully it doesn't blow all over my... Oh, darn it. I have some on the table here. All right, anyways, let's move on. So, yeah, pretty massive puzzle piece here. 1.69 inches, 42.9 millimeters. And in terms of piece thickness, we got ourselves 1.8 millimeters or 0.07 inches. So I feel like that's a pretty standard piece thickness here. Now, some issues you can have with pieces this big is sometimes the tabs, depending on how thin or thick they are, they can be quite bendy. And I'm not putting all my beastly force into this, but I am giving it a bit of a tug, and it feels pretty strong. So this is pretty good cardboard here. And in terms of the print, this is really good, actually. We got some really vibrant colors. The print looks very clear. You can kind of see here the siding of the building. You can also see that cow very clearly as well. And look at the leaves. This is fantastic. In terms of glare, we do have quite a bit of a glossy finish here. Now let's move on to the 500 count and see what that's like. All right, trying to look to see what the puzzle dust situation is like on this one. And it doesn't seem as bad as the 300 count puzzle. You do see some dust, or at least I think you can see on the bag there. But anyways, we'll empty this one inside the box as well. Oh, look. The box itself has some puzzle dust in there. But anyways, let's move on to the actual pieces. I must say the box itself here, between the 500 and the 1000 count, these are pretty darn big boxes. And I think I know why now. Now that I've opened this one, there's no reference image here. So basically this is what you have for your reference. So it's a pretty good size. It's actually bigger than some other reference images that I have received in other puzzle brands. So not bad at all. You just need to use the box. And it's a good thing it's a fairly sturdy lid. The bottom is not very sturdy, but that's okay. Now, in terms of the piece size here, I mean, oh, look at that piece shape. We got ourselves some craziness going on here. So that's fun. I think this is this considered random cut? I think it is. Again, very vibrant colors. I love how you can see the detail here, even though this is more of like this image is more of a painting, so you really do see a lot of the brush strokes. It's not like perfect flowers, so I can't really say like, oh, this is blurry or not blurry. It's just the nature of the image. I mean, you could see the fence there pretty darn good. I'm also noticing as I move this about, you could see that glare there as well. There is a bit of a glossy coating to this. But in terms of the piece size, I mean, this is going to be pretty tough for me to measure with the caliper. It's not going to really be worth it considering how some of them are big and some are small. But as you can see here, this is a fairly, for the most part, they're pretty good piece size. That's the size of my pinky finger for that one. In terms of the thickness of the piece, it's the same as the 300 count at 0.07 inches or 1.7 millimeters. So you're going to have the same feel overall, though with this particular puzzle cut and shape, these shapes, you can see this one in particular has a very thin side to it. And again, I'm not going to put all my beastly force on it, but this does feel pretty good as well. That's the 500 count. This is gonna be fun. At least I say that now. Watch me start losing my mind when I piece it together. But anyways, let's move on to the 1000 count. All right, this one seems to have even less puzzle dust in it. That's weird. The bigger the piece count, the less puzzle dust I'm seeing, at least with the puzzles I have here. But let's open this up and let's see what these pieces are like. Yeah, not really seeing much puzzle dust, if any. It's probably just like a light powder. In terms of the print, it is really good. Again, the colors are really popping. This one looks a little sharper, but again, this is the nature of the image here. This looks fantastic. We still do have that glossy finish to it. And as creepy as this one is, I mean, look how sharp that looks. But anyways, yeah, in terms of the piece size, definitely this is a much smaller piece here. This is probably like your more traditional piece size. This is 32.5 millimeters or 1.28 inches. And same thickness at 0.07 inches or 1.8 millimeters. Yeah, not bad. So far, I'm not seeing anything damaged. Again, definitely a lot less puzzle dust than the others. But yeah, I'm super curious. Oh, and in terms of piece shape, now that I'm, fumbling more through it, this isn't like the 500 random cut piece. This is kind of like your typical standard puzzle pieces and such. Yeah, this is what I'm used to working with. But as always, I'm super curious with how all three of these are gonna do with, the fit, the hold. Is it gonna crumble on me? Who knows? We won't know until I finally get started. So you know what? Again, lots of work ahead of me, so let's move on. All right, considering it was only 300 pieces, I wasn't gonna sort it, but I couldn't help myself. So anyways, here's what I did. Real quick, we have our edge pieces. In this tray, what I basically did was I put pieces that had like, well, were from anywhere on the bottom of the puzzle. I don't know why I couldn't say that sentence very well. But yeah, anything from this area down. So it's mostly dirt and the cars and stuff like that. This tray is for the buildings. So any of these buildings here, there's some other things in there as well, but if it had mostly building in it, that's what's in there. This tray is more like plants and trees and whatnot. So it's going to be, you know, any of this grass here, these trees in the background, and there are going to be some pieces with buildings in it, but that's okay because considering how big these pieces are, you're going to get a lot within there. So it's basically what the majority of the piece is. That's kind of how I went about sorting it. For this tray, we have animals and people. So yeah, animals and people. And then last tray, I probably didn't even have to do this because it's only, as you can see, 4 pieces, but it's just plain sky pieces. So now that that's done, I feel like this is gonna take me no time to piece together, so let's do that.
Alright, so after getting rid of all that extra puzzle dust and shavings from the box, I went right into piecing together the edge pieces. Then worked on the bottom half, then jumped to the sky and went about resorting the tray with the buildings, and did that by colors and building style. With pieces this big, it felt pretty easy, and it was fun seeing it all come together quickly. After about an hour, I was ready to continue my carriage ride to the local farm and pick my basket of apples, and some strawberries too. And as soon as I was done with that, and done with cleaning up the remainder of the puzzle dust, I jumped right into the next one because I just couldn't wait to spend the rest of the week alone at my beautiful cottage.
All right, this one was kind of tricky, and that's because with this being a random cut puzzle, the one thing that I usually like to sort out in all my puzzles are the edge pieces, and honestly, I feel like I couldn't really do that very well. Because I know with random cuts, sometimes the ones with, you know, pieces with straight sides to them aren't necessarily edge pieces. So I did what I could, and so I put those in here, you know, the ones that I thought were edge pieces, but are probably not. Next tray, I have pieces with mainly green in them. So it's, you know, we have a lot of greenery here, but for the most part, if it had any, you know, colors here and there, I put it towards this pile, which is greens with flowers. So yeah, it's gonna be this area, some of these flowers, those, all that scattered throughout. This next tray here is pieces for the house, the fence, and I think I added the bridge as well in there. That was a little tricky because this is like a painting as well. It's hard to like figure out what the details are in the pieces. Next tray, we have mainly darks and browns. So, you know, they're probably also pieces for the house, probably for the bridge as well now that I think about it. But I'm pretty sure we have path in there, you know, this dirt path as well. Next tray, this is also flowers, but this was very, you know, I figured I put it in a separate tray because there was a lot of them, because I feel like it's all of this tree here. Next tray here, we have pieces that I think are for the water. For the most part, I know it looks very similar to the sky, but sky pieces are in this last tray here, at least the ones that I believe are sky pieces. I'm pretty sure there's water ones in here as well, but that's okay. Now that I look at this here, that's probably water, but actually no. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's not perfect, and it never is, and that's okay. We'll figure it out as we get through it, but as I was sifting through all these pieces, made me realize how long it's been since I've actually worked on a random cut puzzle. So yeah, this is going to be a challenge. So let's move on with that. Alright, so a bit of a challenge, but not too bad. I got pretty much the top half done, which is surprising because that's sky and trees, and it was the first thing I pretty much completed, which is Nice for a change. It feels like a different pace, different flow. But you know, again, considering that these are random cut pieces, it's making it a bit of a challenge. Well, actually, it's pretty challenging at times, but I'm surprised that I've gone through it as quickly as I have. I would say so far in the entire image, the house has been the easiest to piece together, which is not surprising. But anyways, we're just about done here. So you know what? I'm not really sure what to go through with next. I have a few pieces there. Not too much here. This is all the water. We got a few plants. We've got greens and some other random pieces down there. Actually, there's some sections in there that I could probably start piecing or putting on the table. So you know what, guys? Let's just move on with this.
I know a lot of people do not enjoy these types of puzzle pieces, and I get it. I think for me, it really helps when you're working on an image that you absolutely love and want to see fully come together. And I think that really helps with any type of puzzle challenge that's thrown at you. The image is everything, because if you don't care for it, why would you even want to finish it, let alone start it in the first place? Anyways, after about 3.5 hours, I was finally able to step into my beautiful cottage and start a pot of coffee. After enjoying that and closing my gate, I decided it was time to step out and venture into town and enjoy a sweet treat at the nearest soda fountain. Maybe pick up a few essentials as well.
Alright, this was actually super tricky to sort, but here's what I did. So of course I have in the first tray my edge pieces, and as for the rest, I'm going to do my best to explain what I did, but quite honestly, I don't even really remember what I did. But anyways, obviously this is just pieces with red, because those basically stood out to me the most in the piles of pieces. So yeah, we have that one. This pretty much has a people here. So, you know, if there's a face, an arm, a leg, some clothing, it's in that tray. This tray, I feel like what I did was anything that was just mainly dark browns or just dark colors in general. So it's going to most likely be like the shelving here in these areas and probably some of this dark area as well. Actually, for the next two trays, we got a lot going on here, but these pieces are mainly anything that had like what you would see in the display cases up on the shelves here. So there's books, there's merchandise, probably some of this equipment here from the ice cream stuff in the cabinets and whatnot. And probably the same for this tray as well, but it was, honestly, I don't know how to describe it. Basically the same stuff going on, but these had more darker tones. This was slightly lighter. I don't know if you can tell, but that's kind of what I did. This tray here is, as you can see, mainly plain pieces. These are much lighter, so it's going to be any of the tiling, the floor tiling, and anything from this counter, probably this counter as well. And who knows, it's probably this guy's shirt in there, and anything that's light, I put it in that tray. And then for the last one, what I did was, it's not very much in here, but I did anything that had the wallpaper. So this is gonna probably, well, I was gonna say they're gonna need resorting, but honestly, I don't really know how else to resort it. I think I'm just gonna have to tack each tray as best I can and just, yeah, hope for the best. But anyways, I'm looking forward to this, so let's get a move on. All right, so this has definitely been quite a challenge. I'm trying to work on this tray now with all the pieces with letters for the signs and background things, and can't really exactly resort it in piles. I'm kind of just picking through it and separating it by what looks similar, if that makes sense. I do know that's mainly because we got a lot going on in this image. There's a lot of different things in the background, very detailed and whatnot. So yeah, in terms of resorting, I'm not going to drive myself too crazy. Probably just gonna fish through each tray and do what I can. I do have grandma put together here, and maybe after I get more through this tray, I'll go back to putting more of the people together and then start filling in the gaps and whatnot. But anyways, you know what? I'm just gonna stop yapping now. Let's move on with this. right, we're getting there. Not as quickly as I thought I would, but actually no, I didn't think this was gonna be quick. But it doesn't matter. Really what matters is that I am having fun. It's a great image. I love all the details, all the background stuff going on. Right now I'm trying to like figure out, not figure out, but I'm kind of going in between putting together customers, the people in the image, or like, filling in the gap. This particular tray throws me off every now and then because, I mean, yeah, that's pretty creepy. And there's a number of those like that in here. So yeah, I kind of feel like I'm being stared at half the time. But anyways, I still have quite a bit in the tray with, the plain pieces for the bottom of the puzzle for the flooring, but that's okay. As I said, I'm having fun and that what matters. So yeah, let's just finish it.
I was glad this puzzle consisted of the more traditional piece shapes, because with it being a higher piece count, it would have definitely been more tedious to put together. While studying each piece, I couldn't help but feel like I was browsing through all the shelves as if I was window shopping. And after about 5 hours, I was finally able to sit down and place my delicious order, wondering who let this dog get away with eating this kid's ice cream cone. But anyways, I sat for a while and reminisced about my overall experience with Sunsout Puzzles.
Alright, well, aside from a few things, I pretty much feel like all 3 puzzles gave me the same experience. Which is interesting because I've compared different puzzle counts from a number of brands in the past, and I feel like I've dealt with different situations with each. But anyways, let me just get to the point here. The print on all 3 I felt were good. The colors were vibrant, it was clear, and there was no blurriness. Though the 500 count did have an issue during production when it came to the print because the side of it was cut off a bit. Nothing major, but just wanted to make a note of that. They all have a glossy finish, so keep that in mind if you're not into that. And they had a good piece size and variety of piece shapes. My 500 count was a random shaped puzzle, which was surprising. It's actually been a long time since I've worked on one of those, and I was quite shocked that it didn't destroy me in the end. It was actually really good fun, once I got into the hang of it, of course. But let me know down below, is that typical with the 500 counts from Sunsout, or is it something they decide to do at random with different puzzle counts? Let me know down below what your experience has been like. In terms of thickness and strength, overall, it was okay. The 500 count did struggle with this a little because some of the random shades had some thinner areas, but I have to say, my biggest complaint with Sunsout Puzzles, and this was across all 3 of them, is the fit and hold. They were loose, and that was especially for the 1000 count. That actually seemed a bit crumbly. Now I did have some small sections and areas that would hold, but it was very inconsistent, and it was difficult moving sections about because they would just fall apart. And they did not stand up to the pickup test. That was a bit of a mess. But even though that's generally my biggest pet peeve when it comes to puzzling, I have to say, I still very much enjoyed piecing all 3 of these images. They were a lot of fun, and it did take my mind off the fact that my sections weren't holding together at times. Like, these are great images, at least to me, and I feel like with the price I paid, which I can't really remember off the top of my head, it's not bad in terms of quality. Like, I'm not mad at it. I would pick up another 1 or 2 at some point, especially if I had a coupon again, because they had a bunch of great images. And I'm gonna do my best to remember. I probably won't, but I'm gonna leave a link down below to my CVS shopping video where I found these puzzles, so you can go check that out. But I'm curious, let me know down below, where else have you found this brand in actual shops? I know I see them on Amazon, and they do have their own website, but yeah, I'm curious to know where else I can possibly find these, like in person, if that makes sense. And also, let me know your overall thoughts on the brand. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think they're cheap? Let me know down below. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.